You're going to pick the less complicated equation, so obviously the bottom one, right? You're going to solve it for whatever variable your heart desires. But I would also pay attention, because like we're going to solve it for y, or solve for 1 and plug it in. I would plug in and solve for y, because then you're not going to have to multiply anything, right? So we're going to solve this bottom equation for y. So y equals 5 minus x. Then we're going to take that and we're going to plug it into this equation for y.
You want off for a second? Or you do like 3 steps?
It's not super long. What, Ariel?
Can you hold on for a second?
I can. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to plug it into our top equation. So we have 4x squared plus 5 minus x squared equals 25. So we're going to have to FOIL that 5 minus x.
I knew it, and I didn't want to know it.
That's a simple one.
Foiling is never simple.
It is, though, because you get 25 minus 5x minus another 5x plus x squared.
What?
Huh?
Oh.
Yeah, that's what we're getting ready to do. So we're going to combine any like terms. So we have a 4x and an x squared that we can now add together. And then that's going to give me minus 10x plus 25 equals 25. So now we have a quadratic equation. So let's set it equal to 0.
What happened?
What do you mean what happened?
Oh, I see.
Oh, wait, no. Sorry. So then we get 5x squared minus 10x equals 0. So we can very easily factor that, right? We can pull out a common factor of 5x, which leaves us with x minus 2. And so then this one, when we set it equal to 0, we get x equals 0. And this one will give us x equals 2.
Oh. What did I do?
Where'd I lose you guys?
Oh, I see. You took it out of there.
Did
Oh.
last year.
Rebecca, are you following what I did now?
Kind of.
What part is
When you did the 5x. You lost me at the last
this
step.
part?
Yeah, that part.
So they have a comment. You can there's lots of different ways you can factor rather than just like do it with the 2 sets of parentheses. If they have a common factor, you can pull that out. So both of these are divisible by 5x.
So then that leaves you with x minus 2.
Right. So you pull out the 5x, you divide out the 5x, so you get the x minus 2. Then you're setting both your factors equal to 0, just like you do for any other quadratic equation. All right, so that gives us our x coordinates. Now we have to plug both of those into one of our equations and find y.
What do you mean x equals 0?
Remember, when we're solving quadratic equations, we get more than one answer.
Well, I know, but what is the end?
What do you mean, what
What
is
do you
the
mean
end?
x equals 0 and x equals negative 2?
Or x equals
Would
2.
x equal 5?
No,
Why does x equal 0?
because 5x equals 0, divide by 5, so x equals 0.
What?
She factored the very bottom one.
Yeah, this? Yeah, I
Yeah.
factored this, and then I'm setting my factors equal to
And then you
0.
get 2 answers.
So, remember,
Never mind, it's okay.
No.
I don't know how it works, I just need to know that it does.
you do need to know how it works. So, like, when you have something like this, and we factor it like that, remember?
What?
Like
Oh,
when you...
never mind, I got it.
Okay. So now we're going to take 0 and 2 and plug those in for x in this equation because it's, again, easier to work with. So we have 0 plus y equals 5. So that means when x is 0, y is 5. So we have that point of intersection. Then we're also going to plug in 2. So when x is 2...
0, 5, it was 0 and 2. Oh, what?
All right, guys.
Hold your roll.
So we have to take each of these
No,
x
I'm still in
values.
the last step. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, you're sorry. You
We
go
have
to
to-
line something else.
I just drew a line between those two things. We have to take each value for x that we found and plug it in to find the corresponding y value for that point. So when x is equal to 0, I plug in 0 for x into this equation. So I have 0 plus y equals 5, which means that y equals 5. So when x is 0, y is 5. Then I also have to figure out what y is when x is equal to 2. So I take my 2, I plug it in here for x. So 2 plus y equals 5. Subtract the 2 over and get y equals 3.
So you just gave us the answers without doing the work. I'm not criticizing you, I'm genuinely asking the question. Like the x equals 0 and x equals 2 is what you get when you plug it in for x plus y equals 5. Or not?
No, that's what you plug in to get the y values.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
sure.
It obviously doesn't.
But I'll figure it out.
Oh, I got
I
it.
get it.
Yeah, like you find the x values, then you have to figure out the y point that goes with it.
I was
You found the
confused where you
X
were
and
getting
you
the
take
0
the X
and the
and
2.
put it
Then you just pull it down because that equals
Where
x.
it
What's
says
this?
5 minus x squared equals 25.
But how'd you get x equals 0, x equals 2?
You use Pythagorean theorem, you get
Whoa, what? No!
Pythagorean theorem.
How did x equals 0 and x equals 2 go?
Physics.
I did x equals 0 and x equals 2.
How did I get that?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to quadratic
Formula.
formula. But that's not even what I did.
Oh, well, I said you use your quadratic equation. Your quadratic equation and you work it out. Is what I was trying
All
to say.
right, guys, let's go back to quadratic. And there.
2 plus y equals
Are you good? Is equal to 0. So like what I did here is I took 5x equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. So when I solve that for x, I get x equals 0. And when I solve this for x, I get x equals 2. So those are my two solutions to this equation right here.
That makes more sense.
And then now that I have those two solutions, I'm plugging them back into one of my original equations to find the y values that go with them. Okay? Is everybody slightly more with me?
No, but just go on.
All right, so where is it this point, the factoring point that I lost you?
I just still don't know how you got x equals 0 and x equals 2.
Do you understand how I got this?
Yes, you got it from 5x squared minus 10x equals 0, correct?
Yes, I factored that.
Yes.
Okay, so once I factored it, I set each factor equal to 0 to find the two values for x.
So do that.
Right here, in the blue. That's what I just did a second ago. So 5x equals 0.
Can you start at 5?
Wait, Ariel, go ahead.
How'd you get 2?
X minus 2 equals 0.
And 5x equals 0?
Yes. When you're solving because look, so we have to find this equation is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
So we have to find, when you're multiplying anything by 0, one of those things has to be 0, right? So either 5x is going to have to be equal to 0 to make the whole thing 0, or x minus 2 is going to have to be equal to 0 to make the whole thing 0. So I took 5x, set it equal to 0. Divide the 5 out, so x is going to be 0. Then I take x minus 2. I set it equal to 0. Add my 2 over, so x is 2. So that means when x is 2, if I plug a 2 in, I'm going to get a 0. Or when I plug a 0 in, I'm going to get a 0. Those are the two values for x that make that equation true. Is that better?
Everybody looking at me, bro. I know I'm stupid, bro. Like,
No, I'm just trying to like read your face and see if you're actually like feeling slightly better or if you're just...
You're like digging into my soul. Rebecca's like...
Listen, it's my job to do that though. I don't know what to tell you about everybody else.
Just because I don't drive a Suburban doesn't mean you get to look at me like that, Rebecca. What do you drive?
Me?
Yeah.
A Ford Fusion.
Hey, me too.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, technically it's my mother's car till I move out and then I'll get my own car, but.
I was supposed to get like a 2018 Subaru where I was gonna live my life, and then my mom was like, "Sick, I hate the car, but I'm gonna keep it."
All right. Yes.
I didn't know we were gonna do freaking hard stuff today.
Bruh, the top plus or
Let me
minus
still
two
show
on
you.
the other one.
Okay, go back. Go
The
forward.
weasel.
Why doesn't this x equal 0?
Because it's with x minus 2. It's in its own little quantity.
No.
Yes. Stop hitting my TV with your pen.
Okay, never mind. I have nothing to say.
Okay. All right.
Oh wait, this was number 8. Why did you do that?
Because you want it set equal to 0 before you factor.
No, I mean, why'd you take the 3x and substitute it for y?
Because we have to do a substitution to solve for one of our variables first.
No.
So for this problem, they're already set equal to y. We don't have to rearrange anything like we did the last time. Okay, are we good? Everybody with me? All right, so now I'm going to factor out an x, right? Because they each have an x in common, which gives me x times x squared minus 4.
Okay. This is the kind of factoring that always gets me. For absolute names.
Maybe it's better.
Okay, next.
What are you two up to back there?
Nothing.
Like,
People dance all
Are
together.
we gonna foil this?
no.
Bruh.
Okay. Whew. Oh no, the score is done outside, so it's okay. It's all everything's okay.
After, can we just go ahead and do physics? So for all of physics, we have time to work on this.
I mean, I was just going to give you guys time to work on this for physics today anyway.
Can you
Except
only
those
give
of
us,
you that
like,
didn't
3
turn your physics
problems?
work in, you have work to turn in.
I'm so confused, Zach.
Oh,
I
I didn't put
said,
it all in the
so
same
now we're
thing.
done with math notes
You want me
instead
to-
of
Yes, it did.
Did it
now
say
and then
for
doing
the-
physics.
Yeah.
We're doing physics now, so we have the rest of physics to work on this. But she said in physics we're doing this.
I'm just going to give you guys time to work through this stuff.
Okay, thanks. That was the
How many
simplest
problems
way
are you
to
gonna
do
give us?
that.
All right, let's finish this one. So we're going to set each of our factors equal to 0. So like we have this factor of x, so we're going to do that equal to 0.
And 2. Is that the answer?
Almost.
What?
All right. We got to move the 4 over. Plus or minus 2.
Yeah, get out of here. Jeez. Not valid.
All right, so now that means we have to plug in 0.
Whoa, hold on a second.
Okay.
Whoa. Can you merge this slide with the last slide? Because I have something to point out to you.
No.
Go back.
Okay.
Oh, you can't see this. You need to see this. You need to see this. X right here
Yeah.
equals 0, right?
Yeah.
Now go back.
So now we have to plug in 0, positive 2, negative 2 for x. I would plug it into this one. So y equals 3 times 0, which gives you what? What is 3 times 0? 0. So that means our first point of intersection is 0, 0. So that takes care of this one.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to plug in positive 2.
I am still on the third step.
So 3 times 2 is 6. So that means when x is positive 2, y is positive 6. And when x is negative 2, y is negative 6. So those are your 3 intersection points.
Wow.
Okay, I get it.
There's 3.
Because it's x cubed, so there were 3 solutions. There doesn't always have to be just 2.
That makes more sense.
Where's the other?
So if you have x squared,
There will
you
be,
have 2 answers.
right, it depends on what your highest power is. So if the highest power is x or y squared, then you're going to have 2. If you have a cubed, you'll have 3. If you would, you don't have a 4th power, but if you did, you would have 4.
See, that makes more sense to me.
This hurts my soul.
All right, so my plan is to assign 1 through 12. But I will give you guys like physics class today, and I'll give you time in class on Monday to work on it. So you don't have to do it this weekend. Okay?
We don't, wait, what?
God bless you.
So it's page 195, 1 through 12. And we just did number 8, so you can skip that one.
So all but number 8.
Yes. Equations for a minute.
Everything just made so much sense. Oh, beans, go back.
No, Eric, let me explain this to Zach.
No, I need help with this too.
Okay, so remember when you have something like this and you factor it?
Yeah. Wait, no.
So like factors of 4 that are going to give you 3 with different signs. So x plus 4, x minus 1.
I don't remember this.
I don't either.
Solving equations with factoring. Like you factor the polynomial, and then to get your 2 solutions, you set each factor equal to 0.
I'm just gonna say yes because you sound really disappointed in me.
I mean, I'm not disappointed. I just,
And then make it equal to the last one and add them and make it equal to
yeah. We spent a really long time doing this in Algebra 2, like months.
I have my notes if you want them.
I don't remember that, but
Were you here last year, Rebecca?
She was, but she didn't take algebra.
What class did you take?
She took geometry
it's been 2 years since I've done
because she had already had algebra 2.
What classes did you take last year? You were all day?
I think I was in every single class as well except for
I don't remember.
one other and then
It's actually you were irrelevant to me.
yeah.
Oh, I have a little one. Can I have one? Please. Not have one. Just one. And I want you to move.
I love
You
these
guys can
things.
continue. I'm just.
All right. So basically, when you factor a polynomial to solve what the values of x are, you have to set each.
God, I'm kind of
Hello?
What math was that?
No. Of it.
You going?
Bruno.
Ouch. Okay. Yeah.